Well, thanks so much, Lauren, and thank you, Nikki. And of course, all of you for joining us here today, and Meadow for helping us, through some technical things as we got things set up today. My name is April McDaniel. Many of you know me. I'm with Kopsa Otte. Kopsa Otte is an accounting and tax advisory firm that works with salons across the country. And one of the things that we think is so important is to provide education to the salon world, to the beauty industry world. And I am a true believer that education creates empowerment, and empowerment will allow you to be even more successful in everything that you're doing every day. And so this is, I think, the fourth of my 6 fall webinar series, and I'm grateful for Lauren and Nikki for really taking the reins here and creating a great presentation for you. I am mostly going to listen, maybe tag in just a little bit here and there, but they have a lot of great content. I want to give them an opportunity to get through that, and I'll be on through the end. If you're not already registered for our newsletter, it's a great way to get free information about the tax world. And I know no one likes taxes, but it's a way to stay educated about taxes. You can register that by going to our website. I will put that information in the chat so you can do that. But why don't we just go ahead and get started? So Lauren, you want to go ahead and get started for us?
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss April. So hello, champions. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lauren Gartland, founder and CEO of Inspiring Champions. And today we are gathering with one purpose, and it is to ignite your comeback story. And it's not a matter of if it will happen. For almost all of us, it's simply a matter of when. And so what I'm really excited to share that in March, Inspiring Champions, we will celebrate 30 years of transforming tens of thousands of lives and businesses across the salon industry. And we could not be more proud of that. It has been a joy and an honor to walk alongside all you amazing salon owners and teams just like you, helping you to rise above every challenge and to achieve your dreams. That is our primary focus, that you take your dreams and turn them into a reality. So today, I'm extremely privileged to be joined by 2 incredible partners, Miss April McDaniel from Kopsa Otte, who you all met already, and she is a true powerhouse in the CPA world. Not an exciting thing for most, but it is necessary for all of us business owners. And so if you're looking for the best of the best, they are your team to be on. And so I'm really honored also to have my great friend who I just had the opportunity to spend 4 glorious days with. 2 were at an event in Atlanta, and 2, she was at my home with me. So she's not only a great friend and colleague, but she is one of the absolute top salon experts. So it's a joy to have Nikki Le with us today. And so together, we're here to inspire, empower, and equip you to overcome any obstacles and to bounce back stronger. Everyone say bounce back. Bounce back. Bounce back stronger than ever. So get ready, champions, to be uplifted, to be equipped and propelled to soaring new heights. Because today, champion, is about your comeback. And let's make it unstoppable. So what I want you to do is I want all of our champions, this is important, you are engaged. This is not, I'm just going to pop on and listen. You want to take copious notes, get your pens ready, get your paper ready, be on video. We love to see you. Remove all distractions. This is no time to check emails, to check social media. Like, you want to be present. So do whatever you need to right now to remove those distractions, to be with us, champions. We're just wrapping our arms around you. We're loving all of you. So go to the chat box right now, and I want you to share. Have you ever had a salon walkout, or a top producer in your salon or spa suddenly leave? And did they take others with them? So go to the chat box. Let's do a check-in. And Miss Meadow, I want to thank you for joining us at my right-hand person. And if you can keep me updated on what you're seeing in the chat box.
Yes, absolutely, Lauren. Yes, we've got, someone's had a walkout 5 months after they bought the salon.
Wow.
And yep. And others saying yes, and others did follow.
Okay, so we have a lot of yeses.
Yeah, and some not yets. So that's great because this will also really help to avoid that.
Got it. So now what I want you to do is go back into the chat box. And now I want you to share the words that would best describe how did it make you feel? What are the words that describe how that made you feel? This is important that you get in touch with that. And Meadow, tell me what you're seeing in the chat box as they come in.
Defeated, devastated, hurt, angry, abandoned, lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want you to know these are all very valid emotions and feelings. Of course you would feel like that. Everyone does when it happens.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, don't make yourself wrong because of that. It's not about you. It's about whatever was going on with them. And today is about just validating your feelings. And I really want to share with you that we all know what it looks like and what it feels like. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good when we're going through it. But I promise you, champion, you will go through it. And you will come out bigger and better and stronger. When the strong go through it, they get better and stronger, and so will you. So I want to share with you what my commitment is for you today. So let me get over here to my little PowerPoint slides. And my commitment for you today, champions, is I want to, one, provide you with tools to let go of that resentment, the anger, and the frustration, the defeat, all those feelings we have after a walkout. My second goal, champions, is to provide you with 2 proven action steps. Actually, I'm going to give you 3 proven action steps that you can take now to move forward. And number 3, we're going to rejuvenate. We want you to leave this feeling rejuvenated. Most importantly, to feel hopeful and excited about your new future, because that's what it is, champions. It is a new future. So I want all of you to go to the chat box right now and quickly tell us, what would you most want to get out of today? What do you most want to leave with today? What's most important to you? This isn't about us. This is about you. And tell me what you're seeing over there in the chat box.
Action plans. Steps to implement when a walkout happens. A reignition of my passion to grow and build again. A vision and a plan.
Nice.
Nowhere in there did I hear anyone say, but I want to wallow in it, right?
Repeat that, Nikki. No one said what?
And said I want to wallow in it for a little bit.
We don't have time for that, right? We can't.
Right. Well, okay, but that brings me to a point. So one of the things I've worked with several owners on who have been through this, and one very, very recently, is that we know that a walkout can create emotional setbacks that literally they can destroy us and they can even take us out if we let them. And so where we naturally go, the natural place to go is to the logical steps, such as, oh my gosh, we got to rebuild the team. We got to address the financial impact. We've got to prevent future walkouts. And that is important. These are all essential. But I want you to know that the emotional aspects play a crucial role in how quickly and how effectively an owner can move forward after this happens. It's like a death happens. You can't just jump into life like everything's okay. There's a grieving process. There's an emotional process. So I'm going to be talking more about the emotional today. And then Nikki Lee is going to come on and bring it home with the logical. And the emotion and the logical together. And so the emotional aspects play a crucial role. And I believe one of the first and most vital steps, and some of you are going to go, need to do anything else but this. It's forgiveness. And I'm going to give you many good reasons why throughout my presentation. And as I said, I've helped many owners who are going through this process. And the one recently, this gentleman, very sad and kind of different story, was dating this woman who he did not choose to want to date any longer. And she decided to go onto social media, say a lot of untrue, hurtful, and very harmful things about him. He almost lost his business. The team left because they no longer felt safe there. And when he reached out to me, and this was someone that I haven't talked to in 13 years. He did Champion 13 years ago. When he reached out to me, I am going to tell you, I have never spoken to anyone that I felt was more broken inside than this human being. It broke my heart to listen to him. I'm going to tell you, I literally felt like I was concerned for his life, that he might take his life. He was ready to give up. He saw no light at the end of the tunnel. He saw no future. He had no idea how he could start over. And I'm telling you, I'm going to show you the first things I had him do. And we're talking 30 days ago. 30 days ago, here was a person who was ready to take their life because they didn't know how to rebuild. And he just had his biggest month ever because of the steps I'm about to show you. And I've helped other owners do this. And I believe it is crucial because holding on to resentment, anger, bitterness, and frustration, it's going to cloud judgment. It'll affect your decision-making, and it damages future relationships with the team. So how many of you would agree with that? Just go to the chat box and let me know if you agree with that. So as we look at this, champions, we're going to talk about the power of moving forward after a walkout. It isn't optional. It has to be mandatory. And so when we look at this, remember that forgiveness is not about saying that what you did was okay. It's not about saying, oh, I'm okay with what you did. I can live with what you did. It has nothing to do with the other person. The person probably isn't even thinking about you. Forgiveness is not about forgetting the past, but it's about freeing ourselves to create a better future. How many of you want a better future? So if you want a better future, we're going to move forgiveness to being one of the very first steps that we take that will help us. So let's talk about why forgiveness is essential in business. Get your pencils ready, champions, because here we go. Are you guys ready? Say, bring it on.
Go on, Lauren.
Okay, so one, it's going to reduce emotional and mental weight. How many of you ever hold on to emotional and mental weight?
All the time.
And what does that do for us? What happens when we are in mental and emotional distress? What kind of decisions do we make? Go to the chat box. Let's hear from you. What is your decision-making process like? When we hold on to resentment or anger, it drains our energy. How many of you, like, you just want to get in bed, pull the covers over your head, and never, ever get out again? We are drained. We are depleted. We don't want to put on the happy mask. We just want to wake up and Jeannie to show up and everything to be perfect again. And so not only does it reduce emotional and mental weight, but it stifles our growth and our leadership. How many of you are ready to change that? Say, I am.
I am.
So the next thing, champions, it creates a healthier workplace. How many of you want a healthier workplace? Say, I do. So if you want a healthier workplace, we got to move this to a must. What do we have to move it to?
A must.
You got to move it to a must, because forgiving and letting go fosters a positive environment. Everything is energy. And if you don't let go of that negative energy, if you don't let go of that pain, that anger, that dissension, that bitterness, it is energy you bring everywhere you go, and it affects everything. So it is crucial for the rebuilding of team morale. Everyone say, I got it.
Got it.
The next thing, champions, is our next step is it's going to enhance your leadership. How many of you believe by letting go of the past, it would enhance your leadership? How many of you believe that? Say, I do. So when you choose, and everyone know it's a choice, when you choose forgiveness, you are leading by example, and you are setting a standard for resilience, unstoppability, if that's even a word, and positivity. And how do the best leaders lead? Everyone go to the chat box and type in by example. We got to be the change that we want others to become. So let's talk now about the cost of holding on to resentment. And I'm going to go through these quickly, champions. And so let's look at the cost of holding on to resentment. Let's write these down. So one, there are emotional costs. One, there's stress, frustration, anger, resentment, and it's all diminishing your self-worth. It's diminishing your self-worth. It's diminishing your self-confidence. It is taking you down. The battle always begins in the mind, and that's where it affects us emotionally. It impacts us financially. There's a financial impact. It's an inability to focus on growth and profitability because we, in a sense, feel paralyzed by what happens. It's stifled us. It's hardened us. It's put us like almost like we feel like we're stuck in quicksand, and we got to break free and get out of the quicksand. And number three, champions, it affects team morale. The negativity, the negative energy. It can, and it's going to affect the remaining team members. And so we have to lead to a higher turnover of our team morale to get everyone re-energized, re-motivated. So let's talk about, champions, how does forgiveness help you to rebuild? This is the part, don't miss this. So how it helps us to rebuild is in 6 ways. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to go into 3 exercises that I have given every owner or every individual I've worked with, whether it's a relationship they're trying to move past, whether it's health, whether it's anything in your life, in your personal life or business life. It's what I just did with this gentleman that you wouldn't even know he's the same person 30 days later. I'm talking complete transformation. And so first of all, it is an emotional release. Negative emotions, stress, frustration, and bitterness, it diminishes our sense of self-worth, and it can weigh an owner down. And it prevents clear thinking. It prevents decision-making that is vital at this point. It impacts our leadership ability. But when you let go of that, everyone say, I'm free. I'm free to make powerful decisions. I'm free to attract my ideal dream team. I'm free to be the best and the most equipped leader I can be. So one, to rebuild, we've got to let go of the emotional releases. Then we got restore confidence. As you're rebuilding, you got to restore your confidence. So walkout is very emotional. It's draining, and it makes owners question their leadership. It makes them question themselves and their ability. where forgiveness, it helps you to rebuild your confidence. The next one, champions, is it refocuses your vision. Everyone say vision. Vision, the ability to build a new team. You need to be emotionally open and strong and ready to lead without the baggage of previous issues. So to refocus our vision, we must let go of the past to create an empowering future. The next one, to rebuild, we have to re-engage the team. We got to let go of the past hurts, and we got to create a space for renewed energy and enthusiasm for a bright and a great new future. It will help the remaining team members to feel secure, to feel valued, to feel hopeful. And I know when you are in the pit of hell going through it, I know how hard it is to put on the happy face, to pretend like everything is working, that nothing's wrong. I know what it looks like and what it feels like. I know what you're going through. It is not going to be easy, but you are equipped. You have everything within you to rebuild, to push through this, and to do this again and again if necessary, because a champion never quits and a quitter never wins. When you are going through this, I want you to put the stake in the ground, and I want you to refuse. Everyone say refuse defeat. You must refuse defeat, because that is not the end of your success story. It is not the end of your story, I promise you. Your best, your greatest success story is yet to be written. When we have these type of opportunities, and if we can shift our thinking to not something that happened to us, but this is an opportunity. Every opportunity provides growth. If you think about your life, if you look back on your life, most of us do not grow when life is working. When life is working, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to be up. It's like, life is working. But we all know that life isn't perfect. It's ebb and flow. It's up and down. It's not a matter of if it's going to turn, it will. The tide will turn. And I believe those opportunities, they're not meant to destroy us. They're meant to grow us. They're meant to make us stronger. They're meant to bring out the best in us. Because if you look back to every opportunity, every challenge, every obstacle that you have been handed, if you pushed through it, if you soared above it, you know in your heart, you know in your soul that you grew, that it brought something out in you that you didn't even know you had. It made you think on a level maybe you haven't thought in the past, and better things happen because of it. So please refuse defeat. And so champions, I want you to get your pencil ready. I am going to give you 3 things that when you do these, again, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's the business, whether it's a walkout, these work. And so it is with great pleasure to give these to you today. You're going to all take a piece of paper, and I want you to create 3 columns. You're going to create 3 columns. This is such a simple but powerful exercise. This is an exercise we have done on the last day in the last hour of Champ Camp. After 3 10-hour days, it is our 29 to 30 that we do what I'm going to show you. And I'm going to tell you, after 30 years of having tens of thousands of people go through Champ Camp, we have had people say this was their biggest breakthrough. And so it will set you free. So in the first column, what you must do, everyone write down must. Are you going to feel like doing this? No. If you wait until you feel like forgiving someone, you will never do it. Sometimes we have to, as a leader, do the right thing to set us free, to let go of all the baggage so we can be the best version of us to lead others that we can be. So this has to become not a, I'll try to do it. I think I might do it. I'm going to do it when the stars and the moon align. No, this has to become a must. And so one, who do you need to forgive? And make a list. This is an exercise I do on January 1st every year. I have changed it this year, and I'm now doing it every month because stuff happens. And I just want to always feel the weight off of me. So you make a list of everyone you need to forgive. It can be of something little, something major. And I know some of you have had things happen that no person should ever experience or ever have happen. But hanging on to it is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. You are the one dying inside. You have put yourself in a prison and you hold the key. And the only way to get out of that prison is to put the key in the lock and have the courage to turn it and forgive and be set free and feel that being lifted. Once you do that, I want you to then write down, who do you need to ask for forgiveness? All of us, none of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect. We do things to hurt other people. We say things that can be harmful and hurtful. We have done things that weren't right. And you know what? It's important that we complete those. It's important that we rise up as a leader and have the courage to say, you know what? I wanted to reach out to you. And I don't care if it was 20 years ago. But say what happened to just say, I just want you to know how sorry I am. That if that hurt you or it pains you or caused you any disease in any way or form, I am so sorry. And I know it's been a while, but I just had to reach out to you and complete. It might be a current thing, but who do you need to ask for forgiveness? And the third and the big one, and this is going to be the big one when you have a walkout. What must you forgive yourself for? This gentleman I was talking about, he knew there were things he did, not the things this woman said, but he knew he played a part in it getting to the point it did. And I love that he was willing to step up and be accountable for that. And so really looking at, like, I just did it with myself this morning. I went through this. We're in a new month. I just went through this. And so what do you need to forgive yourself for? And once you complete these three, here's what you're going to do. One, you're going to take that list and everyone you need to forgive, just say their name and just in a sentence, what do you want and what do you need to forgive them for? And then who do you need to ask for forgiveness? And what do you need to forgive yourself for? And then you do what you want. But for me, I pray over mine. And I pray that I will have the strength and the courage to let go. And then I do a burning ceremony. I do it in my fireplace. You can do it in your grill. I have had people tear it up and flush it down their toilet. But you got to let it go. You got to let it go. You don't hang on to it like it's, oh, I'm not letting go of this. We must let it go. So the burning ceremony, that is your celebration. Everyone say celebration. It's your celebration, champions. And so this is the first thing I want you to do. The second one is to recoup, to regain, to reignite your confidence, your self-esteem, to be the person you want to be. The next thing, champions, is you got to do your I ams. I want all of you to make a list today. This is your homework today. And I want you to go to the chat box right now, and I want you to start typing in, and Meadow, I'm going to have you read some of them. So I want you to think about, if you just had a walkout, think about the negative emotions. So if we're like, I am so pissed off, I am so angry, oh, I just want to do something bad to this person. I hate how I feel. My self-confidence is down. I'm such a terrible leader. Like all these things start going through our head, and that is stinking thinking. And that's where the battle begins. And it becomes all of a sudden this recording in our mind. And what we focus on expands and grows. So if you stay focused on all the bad things, on all the things you don't want, there is life and there is death in our words. This is the time you must speak life. And it's not going to be easy, but you move this to a must. You do this every single morning. I walk around I love our 14-foot island in the kitchen because it makes me, I just walk around it. And I go over my I am list. And so, Meadow, are we seeing some I ams in there? Could be,
Not yet.
I am a great leader. I am equipped. What are you seeing in there?
Nothing yet. Everyone must be thinking hard about.
Oh my gosh, you guys, come on. Put some in there. If you are totally stressed out, what is the opposite of stressed out that you want to be?
Resilient, brave, honest.
Yes, I am brave. I am courageous. I am strong. I am an excellent leader. I am open to new opportunity. I am attracting my ideal team. I am effortlessly covering all of my bills. You have to, and you want 25 of these, not 24, not 20, not 15, a minimum of 25. I have 35 on my list, and you can see some great ones up there now. I am joyful. If you're a person who's feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress, think of the words that are opposite of that. I am peaceful. I am calm.
One of your favorites, unstoppable.
I love the unstoppable. I am grateful. I am blessed. I am victorious. I am a victor. So all of you have two homeworks, your forgiveness exercise, you have your affirmations, the power of I am, whatever follows your I am, whether you're saying it internally or externally, you will move towards. So if your I ams are gloom and doom, you are going down. You will go under attack, and it is not going to be a bright future. You got to become aware of when you're saying things that are causing death with your words, and you got to push the delete button and refuse to delete and refuse to feed and reframe them in the I am you want. So I want you to think about that. How do you want to see yourself? So champions, the next thing I want you to write down, and the two things you want to do every morning is your I am, say them out loud. Every day say to yourself, something great is going to happen to me today in the face of it all falling apart. Something great is going to happen to me today, and believe it. And then write your gratitude list. And the same, 25. Write 25 things you're grateful for, because when you focus on what you are grateful for, the mind cannot focus on all the bad things happening. The mind will focus on the things that are working, that do make you feel joy, that do make you happy. So really embellish that list. And if you can begin every morning with your I ams and with your gratitude list, followed by whatever other rituals you have, you will see a massive shift. And during the day, catch yourself. When you hear the negative feedback coming out of your mouth or in your brain, reframe it. Reframe it to what you want it to be and speak what you're grateful for. So champions, we are going to be turning it over here to Miss Nikki, who is going to take it in a very, very different direction. But I want all of you to be freed up to let this person or to let these people go, so you can be the best version of you were put on this earth to be. We are going to have, all of you will have access to the replay. So if you want to put this on your QR code, because Nikki is going to bring a lot more to the party here right now. But if you want to get your phone out, take a picture of this. This is what will give you access to the replay. It's also, we're going to be putting some handouts on there for you as well to support you. So with that, champions, we also want to let you know that we are going to be giving away at the end, and you must be present. We have our 3-day cash flow camp, and one of you are going to win it, because this is going to help you to become the greatest owner you can be. It is going to help you to pick up the pieces and rebuild quickly. And if we have any champions on with us who have been to cash flow camp, if you want to say anything in the chat box about that, we would welcome those. And so we'll be giving a ticket away. And also, Miss Nikki, be sure to tell them Nikki and I, 2 weeks from now on Monday, November 18th, we know one of the biggest things that all of you will have to do is rebuild the team. So we put together a 2-hour webinar Nikki and I will be doing on the 18th, and we'll be putting up a link. You'll all be getting a code, and that is going to be on building your dream team. What you need to know and do, and you're going to get concrete, solid things. So with that, Miss Nikki, I am passing the baton to you.
Everyone, please give Miss Lauren Gartland just a huge round of applause. She's just she lives true to her name, which is the firecracker. I mean,
Yes.
and I feel so privileged to have had the opportunity to spend time in her private space and her dream retreat and her incredible, beautiful space. And I got to really see on the back end how positive this amazing human being lives. And so it was just a wonderful experience.
Oh, thank you, Miss Nikki. I'm very touched by your words. Thank you so much.
I love you dearly, and you know that. So
I feel the same. I feel it. I feel the love.
exactly. So thank you so much, everyone. I am going to go ahead and start the presentation here. And but I want to say just a couple things. The first thing, can everyone see my screen, first of all?
Yes.
This presentation is really designed, and what we really, as any of you know me, I am really about the action steps. I'm very strategic. I tend to live in the place of logic. And, this is why I really wanted to allow Lauren, who is the master at it, to really talk about the emotional quality. I'll talk on it a little bit, but, I'm just the action girl. I just like action steps. And so we're going to really focus on that a little bit. And I hope that you guys got so much great stuff from Miss Lauren here. And I'm going to just go ahead and dive into just the meat and the potatoes of an actual salon walkout. Those of you that haven't really experienced one yet, and I've experienced a couple of actually, and as a business coach, I've had the opportunity to really learn through experiencing, through listening and being a shoulder to cry on and a support network for salon owners. And I know, Lauren, you are too. So when we watch salon owners go through this, it's incredibly painful. And there is a lot of trauma. I use the word trauma a lot for this. There's just so much trauma, and it leads into, PTSD. I really believe there's some PTSD. We can't let go of it. We're holding on to it. And I always say, and Lauren does such a beautiful job of really explaining that. Someone told me an analogy once that really resonated with me. They said, carrying around trauma or carrying around the past is like attaching a truck to you with a belt and then having to drag it around every single day. When are you going to do it and just let it go? It doesn't belong in your life. You can't sprint, you can't run, you can't fly with that thing holding you back. So we all experience trauma. We all experience these things. And, I'm all for a good wallowing and a good, emotional release session. where, you just crawl in bed and cover up and watch, rom-coms and eat ice cream and cry your eyes out and boohoo and call your friends and cuss them out and do all the things you got to do to get the emotional release out. Okay. And you please know that you can do that. What's not okay is for you to stay in that. We got to get out of that, right? So you can get in it, wallow in it, be with your best people that are fully supportive, but then time yourself and say, okay, for 3 days, I'm just going to cry my eyes out and be, pity party for myself. But then afterwards, you got to get up and you got to do some things. And so the one thing I want to address first is blame and shame. And so blame and shame hasn't been really touched on yet in walkouts, but from a salon owner coach perspective, what I hear salon owners do a lot is blame themselves for everything. And then they feel ashamed of things. And that is so debilitating. We've got to, as Lauren said, release all of that and forgive yourself for that and move past that. So and you cannot do the action steps. So this is why I went second. You cannot do the action steps until you address the person. You've got to address you. So your mindset, your abilities, your power, your strength, your restfulness, your mindset, all of those things are incredibly important first. So the first order of business is figure that out first and reach out. And you'll hear me say that. And so I won't belabor that point. But really what I'd like to dive into is once you're done, having your emotional release session, it's time to really do a discovery process. I'm all about information gathering. I think information gathering, and I live by this rule, the more information and knowledge and understanding you have, the less fear and trauma you can have. The opposite is also true. So if you are uninformed and you are under-researched and you are living in a state of emotionality, all of that trauma and stress and emotionality will be very real and you won't be able to get rid of it. The medicine and the cure to the emotional trauma is to become as well-informed as you possibly can. And that doesn't make you uninformed, it doesn't make you stupid, it doesn't make you any of those things. It just makes you a person that hasn't had that experience yet, and you're going to live through that experience now, and it's going to make you tougher and stronger, just like Lauren said. First thing I want to say is that I really want to address is why do these salon walkouts happen anyway? I think there's a lot of reasons for it, right? I can't touch on all of them, but I just narrowed it down to just a few that I think can be some of the most powerful ones. And the first thing I want to say is when I touch on these things, what I don't want you guys to feel is any kind of blame, self-blame for yourself. Okay, so we're not in the place of that. We're gonna let go of that. And we are now in the mode of information gathering. So we're being very logical now. We're not going to be emotional anymore. We've done that already. Now we're going to be logical and we're going to think our way through it. We're going to strategize. And I am all about the strategy, all about it. So the first thing I would say is sometimes there's poor communication. And the communication, this is like a whole course in itself. So we can't really dive too deep into that. But this is where coaching comes in. And having people that you really trust and you believe in, like April or Lauren or Meadow or anyone else on your team. Somebody who has had the experience, somebody who has the knowledge, somebody who has the information for you will teach you how to communicate better. So just learn to recognize it without the emotional stuff that's attached to it. Just be acknowledging of it. And then also, if that communication part is challenging for you, there's a leadership disconnect. And so just be honest with yourself if there's a leadership disconnect. Sometimes we come from places, I heard once that in relational dynamics, we're all like blocks, right? So imagine each person is like a little box and a little block. And then we all come to this building and each one of us, every single time we have a new experience, we're moving around. And then we have all of these past history experiences that have, tempered what we do and what we think and how we feel and our self-worth and all of those things. So all of these blocks are constantly moving. It's very dynamic. And so how do we navigate through all of those things? It's learning how to become mindful, asking really amazing questions. I've learned that from my dear friend, Lauren. Instead of telling people what to do all the time, sometimes you just ask good questions and listen. And so that gives you the information that you need in order for you to properly strategize in the future. Instead of blaming or shaming or, dictating or authoritative type of leadership style, go into a different mode of just sensitively asking questions and just gathering data. That's probably one of the best things that I would say that you can do when you're feeling unsure of your next best steps. This is my favorite one, as anyone who knows me knows this, which is you don't have a very in-depth compensation strategy. You don't have competitive pay. You don't have a benefits package, and you cannot compete in the marketplace. So, how many of you have sold a house? Anybody have sold a house before? Okay, or bought a house, right? So what have you heard in there when sometimes some real estate agents will say, oh, it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market, right? So sometimes when people say, oh, it's a buyer's market and you're not a buyer, you're a seller, you're like, oh, darn, I guess I'm kind of disadvantaged, right? So there's disadvantage, the pricing might be different, things like that might be affected. The same is in the employment relationship in the beauty industry today and other industries. We are an employee market. So out of the employment relationship between an employer and an employee in HR, we are absolutely in an employee market, which means that they have the power. We are the business owners that need to be so well structured and have very defined things that are competitive. When you are trying to sell a house in a market that's a buyer's market, you have to do more things for the buyer. You have to pay closing costs. You have to do things that you don't want to normally do. The same thing goes for the employment relationship. If you are in a competitive market, which we are all in, we have to accept that fact. And once we do, then we understand and learn through coaching and learn through education and information gathering, all the things that we can do to make our offer the best in the community where they cannot beat it. And that's really what we want to build. We want to build, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, the most enhanced employee experience that we can possibly build out that's within your budget and your capacity. And trust me, I don't want you to have the feelings of saying, well, I can't do that. I can't have benefits and I don't have the money to do this. Yes, you can. It's all about strategy. It's all about understanding your numbers, and it's all about learning how to run your business. And it is not as hard as it sounds, I promise. It does require leaning in, and it does require patience, and it does require effort. But outside of all of that, I promise you, you will grow to become a strong, amazing leader in your community, and your business will be a standout in the community, which it will mitigate and minimize these walkout possibilities. I'm not going to say it's going to stop it from happening, but it can certainly mitigate it, right? Do you have a toxic work environment, or are there employees that might be toxic that I always have this saying when I'm coaching leaders or business owners. A lot of times business owners want to make one person's problem the entire team's problem. Have you done that? Or maybe, I think it comes from maybe that we're non-confrontational or something. So instead of just going right to the source of the person that's causing the challenges, instead, we're calling a team meeting. Everybody has to hear me griping about this problem, but this problem isn't the team's problem. The problem is the person's problem. And so is that happening? And if that's happening, let's identify what that is, and let's figure out how to fire fast and then recruit and vet our new employees in a different manner so that we're not bringing or allowing those kinds of attributes into our team. So and especially if you're bringing it too, you got to be a little honest with yourself. Are you playing favorites? Do you, communicate more with one person than the other? Are there things that can convey unfair? Equity in a work environment is very, very important. Not fairness, right? I always say, if you want fair, go to the Ferris wheel. Equity is what we're striving for, right? Equity. Equity means that everyone has the same opportunities and the same openings and the same, just the same everything, right? And so that doesn't mean everyone's going to get paid the same, doesn't mean everyone's going to get the same benefits, doesn't mean all of that. Everyone doesn't have the same pricing, everyone doesn't have to have the same station, everyone doesn't get to have all the same things, right? That's dependent on contribution, production, KPIs, performance, those kinds of things. But there needs to be equity within your employment relationships, so that one person can feel that they have the same access to you as someone else. That's very, very important. And I feel that a lot of walkouts can happen because employees may feel this way. There's lack of growth opportunities. We have to create scalability. If you want a company that grows, we have to create scalability. This comes from building very simple structures, which, Inspiring Champions does a beautiful job at teaching you how to build out tiered pricing structures. Look at what your internal structures look like from growing in compensation. Maybe new hire strategies should be scalable. Everything should be scalable. And you can ask Meadow and Lauren, and anyone that knows me knows I am all about scalability. If you don't build scalability, how will you grow a team? No one is on the same playing field. I never believe that. You can't expect somebody who's been doing hair and being a beauty professional for 30 years to have the same work experience or employee experience as somebody who's 1 year in. They're a veteran. You need to treat them as such. And this is why you want to create scalability in your growth opportunities. This is done through coaching. Overloaded and underappreciated staff. I think this is very, very important to analyze. Again, this is really an analysis, and this is where you were starting to do your assessment programs. For example, your performance evaluations, your goal settings, your one-on-ones, your compensation review meetings. These type of review meetings are very structured methods to communicate with your team very specifically. Again, this is very important for you as a business owner. Instead of just like approaching a meeting with a team member without a plan, without an agenda, those kinds of things, they don't convey that as leadership. They're just telling me what to do, and they're using emotions to dictate me. And people will leave when they feel like this is unfair. If there's inconsistent policies or expectations, again, equity is it's very important. This can create an incredible amount of frustration in your team. And if there's no culture of feedback, if you don't have a culture of safe feedback where people feel safe to give you the feedback in a very honest way, maybe surveys. Surveys are one of the most amazing tools you can use to prevent walkouts. If you're sensing a walkout happen, work with your coach to create really powerful surveys with very poignant questions that are very directive and allowing a space of anonymity and also some safe feedback to get back to you so that you can really address it. Listening and talking to a webinar or whatever, this is all giving you the information. It's going to grow your leadership skill. But the people you really need to talk to are your team members so that you understand what they need. And then you build the systems around them. Leadership and business is there to serve the team. So you got to find out what the team needs. And then also, is there any cultural misalignment? What is the salon culture? Maybe you don't really have a deep set one. Maybe you don't have an employee loyalty program. One of the best things that I've found that can be one of the most incredible team building internal structures that a business owner can have that really can mitigate salon walkouts into the future is employee loyalty programs. So you can build out an entire thing. They're a lot of fun. I'll give you an example, like Best Dress Award, Employee of the Year Award, Employee of the Month Award, giving points, badges, having coworkers badge each other. This is where you're really going to start to build a culture of acknowledgement. And this is where people will feel connected. And when they're making the decision if they're going to leave or not or open their own business, they have to feel that what you have to offer is bar none the most incredible experience that they can have, that they cannot duplicate what you are doing in their own space. And so that's really important. Any questions about that so far, guys? Okay, so first I want you to make sure, I want you to get in the right mindset. Here's some immediate steps for you after you do a forgiveness exercise, after you have your emotional wallowing session and all of the things, that first, of course, and then now we can come into here. So the first thing is just stay calm, assess the impact. This is where coaching is powerful because at that time, you just want to just scream and cuss and cry and all the things, right? And so having someone to really just help you understand, okay, wait, you did that right. This isn't you. I've heard some other coaches say things that really bother me. Like they say things like, if you had a salon walkout, it's your fault as the business owner. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, certainly I think that there are things that you can do to improve the employee experience and to improve your business and to improve your leadership ability, but it's not always the owner's fault. Sometimes there's just people that just aren't looking for a long-term growth path with you. And you just have to get over it. It's okay. So this is why it's really important to continuously recruit and build and train a new team at all times. Having a new employee pipeline is one of the most important things that you can be doing inside of your business if you are an employee-based business. so that walkouts and things like that don't impact you as much. So make sure you take a deep breath, and really important, you need to make sure you are getting sleep. I know most of us, when we're under stress, we don't want to sleep. And so, you know, we stay up, we worry, we're on the phone, we're like obsessing over Facebook posts and blah, 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 and all the damage control that we have to do. You got to shut it off, and you've got to sleep, because I promise you, you're operating. So you're like your brain and your heart and your soul is like a battery of your phone. If you don't plug in your phone at the end of every day, will it be recharged for the next day? You won't have any ability to do anything. You'll just be reactive and upset and irritated and tired and angry and all the things. Our emotions run the show when we're not well rested. So you have to make sure you're well rested. Force yourself to do so. Okay. You have to also eat well. Our food is fuel. A lot of us don't eat. We either overeat when we're stressed or we undereat, right? You need to eat well. So it needs to be good food that's going to fuel your mind and fuel your energy. It's really important to do that. Don't go without, and don't eat things that are going to make you feel yucky, because reserving energy in every way possible is going to be critical to being able to manage this in the best way possible. It's like when they say on a plane, you got to put the oxygen on yourself. You got to do that here in a walkout. You got to put oxygen on yourself first. And if that means that you just need to be like, okay, guys, I'm going to spend the time to do a little damage control with everyone. We're going to have a meeting. Can I just give everyone just a little bit of time, and we're going to set some appointments up to talk. But for the next 2 days, I need to take 2 days to just rest, sleep, eat, work out. I don't care. Take a swim, whatever you got to do. Go get a massage. Go get 4 massages, 2 massages a day. I don't care. Think outside the box. Do whatever you can. Okay. Then evaluate the situation. This is where a coach or a friend or a mentor will really, really help you, because now we have to just evaluate what is left and what kind of things are we gonna implement. For example, a win-back campaign. Win-back campaigns are very, very powerful tools to use. This is where you implement a strategy of gift certificates or visits for the clients to try out other service providers to keep the clients there as much as possible. You know, all's fair in love and business, right? So in business, if you need to keep your clients, keep your clients. Don't be unethical, right? We don't want to do things unethically, but we want to do things in a way to keep our clients with us whenever possible. This is why I believe so strongly in a loyalty program for our clients as well. So when you have a loyalty program in your salon, your clients will think twice about leaving, because they want the loyalty programs or points that they're accumulating to be reused with your people that you have inside of that business. They'll lose those points. So again, one of the big things to have a really aggressive loyalty program and a really generous one of the true values of it is to mitigate walkouts, or to mitigate or to increase retention, really staff retention and client retention as well. So it really helps with both. Once you're done with that, you need to identify the root causes, be honest, without shame, without crying, whatever. Let's figure it out. And then let's make a plan. Let's make a strategy, and let's figure it out, and let's get it done. Most salon owners that I know, when they get to the stage, they want it done tomorrow, all of it. And I have to tell you, that is so unrealistic. In anything that I've ever done through helping salon owners and business owners grow their businesses, nothing is ever instantaneous. We are a generation of instant gratification, and you guys are way too hard on yourselves. You know, you're never going to solve things immediately. There are certain things you can do immediately, certain things, but most of the time, implementing employee experiences, changing your pay plans, building a benefits package, creating a loyalty program, all of these things that you want to do are not going to be done overnight. So just be in it, get all in, both feet, jump in over your head, and just dive in and just start the work. It's just going to be, you know, you'll look back a year from now and you'll think, oh my gosh, look at how much I've gotten done. You want to make sure you reach out to your guest, and you want to make sure you reach out to your team. Really important communication. If you have a coach, strategize with your coach to talk about what is the dialogue that I need to have at this point. Don't go in there with some emotional, like, you know, guns a-blazing. Okay. So we need to release all of that, get rid of it, but we got to go in with a dialogue. with a very, and I would put that dialogue in paper. Lauren knows this about me, Meta knows this about me. I put everything in written agenda because when you have written agenda, you stick to it.
Mhm.
Make sure you create a written agenda and you put it down and you allow them to talk, and then consider an employee survey to really have them anonymously give you some feedback so that they feel safe in doing so, and express that to them. Say, I want you to feel that this is safe for you to tell me, and don't do things that are unrealistic, like tell your team members, I'm going to fire you if you keep hanging out with them. You know, this is like something that I've heard owners do. We don't want to do this. You know, this is a free country. People can hang out with whoever they want. So, but just keep an eye on it. Be aware if there is, you know, something happening. You want that employee to communicate with you very, very openly and honestly. Win back campaigns are very powerful. And if you have a coach, talk about a win back campaign. I would be very aggressive and I would be very generous with this. I would offer at least 3 to 5 visits for your clients to come back with new staff members so that they feel that, and even double up their loyalty for a certain period of time if you have that kind of program. And don't do it alone. This is really, really important. You are not alone. There are so many people that can help you. You are not alone. So go help, go get mentorship. And then we need to just implement some temporary adjustments. We just need to do a little bit of thing, maybe rescheduling, talk to your team members about maybe creating different schedules of coverage if you need to do that. Maybe consider additional pay if financially that's feasible for you. Consider any additional benefits for your team. Consider retention bonuses. Retention bonuses are really powerful tools to use these days in our compensation strategy. Retention bonuses have to be put onto a contract, and they are typically anywhere from about $2,000 to $5,000 in amount, and they're paid out over 12 to 18 months, and they're paid out in increments. But this is a really beautiful way to make sure that you retain your top talent. And again, remember, I know some of you are like, this is crazy. Well, we're living in a competitive work market. So unfortunately, we got to do things that are a little bit unusual, you know? So, and then really, really important, consider some temporary hires. Consider bringing people in like that or freelancers to maybe just some temporary coverage if you need to do that. We can help you with that. Inspiring Champions, me, Meadow, we can all help you with that. And then if you don't have an HR consultant yet, and you don't have an HR company, most of you have payroll companies. In your payroll company, you will have an HR, a generalist or an HR consultant within your payroll companies. You need to reach out to HR immediately for compliance issues. So there's going to be some compliance things you need to talk about. For example, if there's any NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, any NSAs, anything like this that are, you know, training contracts, if they're reneging on a, you know, some sort of bonus structure, something like this. We need to make sure that we are absolutely compliant in all ways and that you are staying within a safe zone. Okay, so this slide was supposed to be for Lauren, but she already described all of that. But on our webinar, this is a QR code for our webinar on November 18th. It's called Build Your Dream Team and Elevate Your Hiring Process. Lauren is going to be walking you through an amazing exercise about how to visualize and formulate the strategy for your ideal employee. And also I will be talking about a very detailed hiring process. I will also be presenting this in more detail. Obviously in a webinar, we can't do too much, right? So I will be diving very, very deep into Cash Flow Camp in January. I'll be presenting on compensation as well as a very detailed hiring process and the interview process. I coach a lot of business owners on how to modernize and elevate their interview process with interview exercises to create more engagement. Just a lot of different things that are really cool these days. Going virtual, creating digital onboarding. There's a lot of really amazing things that we can do. But I'll be talking about that at the next Cash Flow Camp as well. But on November 18th, which is in just, what is that, a couple weeks from now?
Just
we will
crazy. Not very far away.
Yeah. So QR code this, guys, if you guys want to register, please, you know, grab your phones and get that. And, you know, again, Meadow, maybe you could share out this QR code with everybody at the end too. I see a lot of questions on here. Should I pause for just some Q&A real quick?
I think so.
Okay.
Questions are great.
Hey, while you're getting that set up, I just wanted to add something.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that as a tax person and as an accounting person. So we meet with our clients monthly, quarterly. It's not a regular tax environment like some of the folks on the call today might have with their tax person. We meet with our clients fairly frequently. And, you know, one of the things that we teach about is that it's okay to have really honest conversations with your team about what it takes to be a business owner. You know, we love our team members, right? Here at Kopsa Otte, we know that all our salon owners love their team members. And if you love them and if you care about them, then what you want for them is what's best for them. And you know, not always is that being at your salon. You hope that they'll stay, but some of them just have that entrepreneur nature, right? And maybe they can't fulfill all of that staying. But what we want to do is we want to provide, as part of what we talk about, is letting them know what it truly takes. Because sometimes by providing that information to a team member, they become more educated about how hard of a job you really have as an owner. And they don't want that anymore. So if we're really, really honest with our team members about what it takes to be an owner, all these great things that Lauren's talked about, Nikki's talked about, and that many of you have probably already experienced, we can educate our stylists, our, you know, cutters, colorists, our massage therapists, our estheticists, all of them about what it truly takes to run a business. And not to be too blunt, but sometimes that scares them out of doing it, right? And so I think that, you know, there is something about being real with the people that work for us too. And I think that just supports everything that you guys are talking about as well. So I just wanted to share that from my perspective in visiting with our clients on a regular basis. This just is so good. These are things that we can't bring to the table for our clients, which is one of the great reasons why we love being friends with folks like you guys.
Thank you so much.
I love that you shared that. Let your people know what it is like to own a business, because nobody knows until you do it. And you can call it like the shock tester or whatever you want.
Right.
But the reality is they should respect you for letting them know, educating them on what they need to know and do if they are to open a business.
Right.
I mean, how many people on this webinar today knew exactly what they were getting into when you went to open your salon? Did you know?
No one knew. I didn't.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
A lot of people I always hear from about, I kind of got thrown into this. They were working there. The owner wanted out. They wanted them to take it over, or a building was closing down. Their building closed down. Another one was open. The owner wanted them to take, I mean, you hear it all the time.
Right.
So, all right, Miss Nikki, what else you got for us here, lovely lady?
Okay, let me blast through these really quickly since we have we're just a little short on time. So I just want to share with you just a few key things. So you may be feeling a little bit of hiring and training pressure. So this is really where you can bring in the assistance of outside trainers so that it doesn't all fall on your shoulders. I think starting to reach out to other training companies, I think is going to be really important for you. The immediate solution for this is start to develop a recruitment campaign. On our webinar on November 18th, we will talk about 10 amazing modern strategies that you can implement immediately to enhance your recruitment. So definitely join us for that webinar and we'll share all of that with you. But you know, this is, and also at Cashflow Camp too, we will be diving into that very deep. We talk about how to design a wow ad. We're going to talk about an interview process. We're going to be talking about a recruitment platform, careers page on your website, all of those things. Okay. So we need to start recruiting right away if you don't already have a pipeline. If you have a pipeline already built out, we need to analyze your pipeline to see who is at this point that you can release and launch behind a chair so that they can start taking clients right away. You know, instead of, I know a lot of saloners just kind of hold back, like she's not ready, he's not ready. Well, we need to analyze if they're ready and what they need to get in a very short order in order to get them ready. Sometimes you know, don't be super reactive to it, but we do need to be fairly decisive about getting people behind a chair and changing their schedules. If somebody's an assistant, but yet they're licensed and they've been training for a while, maybe they need to launch. So it's, one of the big things to do is look at your internal team for that before you really start to go out and recruit. So we'll talk a little bit about assessing your business's needs before you start a recruitment campaign on our webinar November 18th. Okay, so loss of revenue. I think this is always on everyone's mind. We're like, oh my God, we're gonna be broke, So, and there have been a lot of salon owners that I've talked to that really, they say it's not even about the money, even though that's very stressful to them. It's the emotional stress of it. And I would tell you one of the best things that you can do is get a therapist if you don't have one. So, and a therapist is different than a coach, okay, even though sometimes I feel like a therapist, but it's different. And I would say the best thing you can do for yourself is to get a therapist. That's amazing, and a coach. And together meet on a regular basis so you don't lose your mind. And then the financial stuff we can fix. Financial stuff is not hard to fix. We can figure out those things pretty quickly. Looking at your expenses immediately. I know a lot of salons that I've talked to have done that already, that have been in that situation. But we want to try to do it without disrupting the business and rock the boat. So it really does take a look at every single thing inside of your business, and run maybe a marketing campaign, launching juniors that are ready to take clients. Maybe implementing a really juicy signing bonus, like maybe a $5,000 signing bonus, a $7,500 signing bonus for top talent to bring them in. I know you're like, well, if we're struggling financially, well, you're going to pay out this thing over time. The business can absorb the cost. And so, and especially if you can bring on somebody with a book of business of $50,000 or $70,000 or $80,000 or more, it's worth it to sometimes consider these things. As a compensation specialist, we do talk a lot about that, but that's in a coaching call. So one of those things that you want to consider is those type of things, and then maybe readjusting your pricing, or readjusting your hours, or maybe just giving everyone a break. Because if you're overstaffed, if you're understaffed and you need coverage, maybe you need to change your hours temporarily too. Reputational harm. This is kind of a big focus. I know that people can engage in some real, mudslinging contest with these things. We want to stay out of it completely. Okay. But you do want your thought leadership to be heard. So one of the things that I really would recommend is you make regular posts, not snide comments like, I just shut this whole thing down, or something like that. Try not to do those kind of comments on social media, but get on your social media and start making really profound and full of gratitude and kindness and strong leadership and really amazing thinking and great quotes and things you learn in your coaching conversations and things like this. Gather that stuff and put it out there. Why? Because people need to see that you're going to live well and you're going to survive. And that's important. So, because they're watching you just as much as you're watching them, I'm sure of it. And you don't want to engage in all of that back and forth nonsense. And don't let them, just get rid of them. Just block it completely. Just get out of it. And don't even pay any attention. Be the bigger person, take the higher road. Okay. If there's any distress to your team culture, one of the best things you can do, you've heard me say it multiple times, is implement an employee survey, an anonymous one, and then set up private meetings just so that they can ask you all the questions, but prepare your dialogue ahead of time. Immediately, that will just diffuse the distress to your team. And then you need to go in, because people want to rise to the occasion. Human beings, our natural inclination is to rise to the occasion. And so if somebody feels that they're a contributor of your team, tell them that. I value you and you're such a contributor to my team. And I really, really want you to tell me what roles that you want to take on too, if you want to take on any roles. And I would love to start to create more of responsibility and a path of growth for you now that I've had a wake-up call. You can say that. Walkouts can be a wake-up call for that kind of purpose, right? Operational chaos. This is where if you are operating in a way on a daily basis that isn't healthy, we need to be really honest about it. So you need to say, if you're not paying your bills, if you're not get help. Okay, you're not on your own. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out to your coach and say, I can't do this week, or I can't do this month. What can you do to help me? And then just ask. And I promise you, if you ask, there has never been a time a coaching client's asked me for something that I didn't do it, that I didn't help whenever possible. And that's how supportive coaches can be. friends, family, other people on your team, they want to help. So just know that. And I know what we do when we get sad and upset, we isolate and we just push ourselves in and then we just let things fall apart and we don't do it. So we want to make sure that we're looking at the day to day without you being overwhelmed. I don't want you to take more jobs and more responsibility, because sometimes when we feel out of control, we want to control more and micromanage more. We don't want to really do that. So again, just analyze what roles you can do. So the win back campaign is really, really important. I talked a little bit about that already. If you guys want to know more, engage in coaching and we can help you build out all the pieces for that. The other thing is you want to proactively reach out to the clients. You do want to be really proactive. If there's anything that you can do with your time, it would be to reach out to these clients. And those clients might tell you to screw off. And those clients might tell you, you know what, I think that's terrible. I would love to come back. Or whatever that might be. But it's good to reach out and have a personal. Clients love that personal touch. So make sure you're doing that and they get your other staff members or your front desk to do it as well.
Right, but it's going to be very positive and uplifting, not putting the person down for leaving, but wishing them well. A great, if any of you don't use it, you want to get Chat GPT. Boy, will that help you write great letters.
So I'm gonna start wrapping up here because we need to pass the over to Meadow, the microphone over to Meadow and Lauren. But I wanted to land with just a couple of things. And I will put all of these concepts into a blog and I will share that blog with everyone. So you guys will get everything on a blog format, okay? But one of the things that you can do is start to build out what you call your legal covenants. And legal covenants are NSAs, NDAs, not non-competes. These are very controversial these days. We can talk all about that in a coaching call if you want, but NSAs are great, NDAs are great, and training contracts are great, and employment and compensation contracts are amazing. These are the package of these contractual situations that can really help protect you. I call myself not just a business coach. I'm actually, my number one thing is an employer advocate. So I really advocate for the employer. I feel like there is not enough advocacy for small business owners out there. And so that's, as somebody who is an HR specialist, and I really dive into that avenue of it, these are the things that really help a business owner out. And this can really help mitigate some of these challenges because it makes the communication much more crystal clear. It's in writing. All right, so let's dive into the employee experience, and then I'm going to pass it over. So the one thing you want to do, and I will address this at Cashflow Camp in detail. We will also talk about this in November 18th, but I wanted you to think about these things. There are 3 categories of an employee experience that I want you to start building out. These are the main projects that every business owner should be working on a regular basis. Okay, so foundational pieces like your contracts, your policies, your forms, your whatever, all the things, right? Your career ladder, your HR hub, your communication tools. Then you have your cultural piece, which is very important to minimize and mitigate any kind of future walkouts and to evolve what you're doing as a business owner. And then the financial piece of it, there are a lot of things that you can do. Put money into a profit account. Start saving for the rainy day in preparation for potentially another future walkout so that you have savings to rely upon. Really start analyzing your KPIs. Make sure you have adequate funding. So there's just so many things that we can dive into in coaching, as you can see. So that being said, and that's what I want to leave you with, is if there is anything that I could pass along at this point, it would be this. It would be start developing your employee experience to a level that it's untouchable. And people will still leave, and that's okay. But you know that you've done everything on your side to minimize that to the best of your ability. So this is a QR code where you can enter the drawing. And then Lauren and Meadow, thank you everyone for listening. I'm going to pass the mic over to Lauren and Meadow, and I hope you guys got a lot out of today. See you on.
Thank you so much. Can we all give Miss Nikki a really big hand? Go, Nikki! Great job. There's just so much information. Wow. Well, Nikki, we're going to do something exciting right now because we want to, reward these people for investing time in their success, for taking time out of their busy day, their busy life, for joining us. And so I want to take a moment, and a client, she started as a client of ours 10 years ago. She became a coach with us 3 years ago, but she wanted to be on here to share today. And she asked me if I would share her message. And Jacqueline DeVivo started out where she owned a business. She was a rock star hairdresser and thought, oh my gosh, all I'm going to do is just get some great people. I'll be able to work less hours. I'll make a lot more money. She had the dream life. She had the dream life. And then she opened a salon and quickly realized she didn't have the skills or the knowledge to run a business. She had the skills and the knowledge to be a great hairdresser, not to be an extraordinary business owner and leader. And what ended up happening is she pretty much flew through all of her savings, all of her finances, was now in debt. She was working more hours, making a lot less money. She wasn't even taking a paycheck. And basically what ended up happening is she sat in a class at the Orlando premiere show. She didn't even know business classes existed, but she decided, I have to do something. This isn't working. How many of you have ever felt like that? And so she sat in her class and she went to Cashflow Camp. And then she went to Champ Camp and she worked with our coach. She still works with the same coach for the last 10 years. But I will tell you that last year, here she is. She now works only 1 day a week behind the chair, and it's not by choice. It's not because she has to. She wants to stay relevant. Like some of you business owners, you can't imagine not working behind the chair. It's your passion. It's your lane. It's your fire. It's what you love to do. But if you own a business, unless you have a really good manager, someone has to be coaching, mentoring, and growing the team members. Someone has to be managing the business. Some of you are doing it all and you know it's very overwhelming, very encompassing, and you feel the stress of it. Well, she had no life. Everything was falling apart. Bottom line is, works 1 day, she gets paid 3 ways. She, all of her people were doing over 100,000. 3 were doing over 200,000. She has 869 square feet by choice. She does not want a huge salon. She wants to keep it small because she has a great life now. But she did last year, she closed at 1.3 million with a 26% profit margin, working only 1 day behind the chair and getting paid 3 ways. Most owners aren't able to say that. But this year, she decided to take 50,000 of her own money and invest it into her salon to do a redecorate, to freshen up the look. And so she took a lot of her own money to do that. And while it was happening, her 3 top producers that brought in 200,000 plus left. She was not prepared for that. She never saw it coming. There were no advanced signals. But here's the great news. In the face of that, most owners have to jump in and save the day. They have to work more days, more hours. They have to make up for the loss. She never worked 1 more hour behind the chair. Most owners have to start laying off your 9 non-income producers, which might be front desk people, or if you have managers that aren't generating revenue, but you're paying them money. She didn't have to lay anybody off. She still continued to get paid 3 ways. She still continued to work only 1 day a week. Now, did she cry? Yeah, she said, I stood in the shower and I cried for an hour. I got it out. I knew I had to move forward. But what she wanted you to know is the difference that would have never been possible before is she had all her systems and structures in place. All the things that Nikki was talking about today. It can feel very overwhelming, especially if you don't have any of it. But success, climbing a mountain, nobody just ends on the top of Mount Everest. Everybody starts at the bottom, and it's 1 step at a time. How do you climb a mountain? 1 step at a time. You put 1 foot in front of the other. Most people can't ever get started. Most people never climb the mountain. They just are stagnant and stay stuck. Well, our person who's going to win today, I want to let you know what you're going to be winning. You're going to be winning our 3-day cash flow camp. And at the 3-day cash flow camp, it is for owners only. It is for owners, managers. If you want to bring your significant other so they're on board with you, do that at a deep discount. But you gain the proven systems, and I say proven systems, the skills, but most importantly, the mindset to turn your salon into a profit generating powerhouse. So I want you to imagine walking away with the tools to confidently manage cash flow, to increase profits, to build your dream team, to create financial freedom, and without the guesswork, because our intensive 3 days that someone's going to win today, if you can't make it, you need to let us know, because we're going to go to the next person. This is not for everyone. It is not where you sit and listen to someone tell you what to do for 3 days, or like we did today. It is all experiential. You are creating your strategies. You are creating your vision statement. You are creating your wow ads. You are going through the interview. You are learning things that will turn your business around. So it's not just a seminar, it's transformation on how you run in your business. So if you're ready to end the financial stress, if you're ready to start building real lasting success, then don't miss being there.
I would also echo, all these systems and processes are so important. You are all building an asset that at some point you will want to sell or transition into someone else's ownership. And in order to do that, you need to have processes and systems, things that create value. Having these things in place, the things that Lauren's talked about, the things that Nikki has talked about, all create value in your business when you go to try to sell it. So make the investment to create those systems.
Exactly. Very good, April. Well, what we're proud of at Cashflow Camp is you don't get one, you don't get two, you get 5 salon experts. The financial part that Randy leads is unbelievable, because each of you, most people would rather stick needles in their eyes than to read a financial statement. And it's the fear like they don't know it. You'll know it. You'll be able to hand you 5 strangers, 5 other salons you don't even know. And in 5 minutes, you'll be able to tell us, here's what's working in their business, here's what's not. Can you do that now? Because you have to be able to do that. If you have a walkout, you have to be able to go to the financials and know where you're bleeding, where the changes need to happen, where to make the strategies. All right, so champions, this person, if you're ready to turn your dreams into reality, we're going to make that happen for you.
Drum roll.
You have to be able to attend this one. It's going to be January 19th, 20th, 21st in Tampa, Florida. And so, Meadow, do we have who our owner is? And they have to be present. So we need a drum roll.
Drum roll, drum roll.
Drum roll, drum roll. So our winner of the scholarship for a Cashflow Camp ticket, if they are on this call, is Rebecca Santoro.
Gosh, is she on video right now where we can see her?
She's not on video, but I hope she can hear and see us.
So we can see you. Oh, I see her name.
Yeah, we'll ask her to unmute. So Rebecca, if you can hear us, let us know in the chat.
Rebecca, let us know if that date works for you. Otherwise, we are going to make sure it goes to someone who can be there. So Rebecca, can you make that date?
Rebecca, can you come off mute? We see you on there. Maybe she's not.
For the rest of you, if you are looking for the best way on the entire planet to start your new year, we want to invite you to join us. It's $18.99, but on this, we're reducing your first ticket by $500. Each additional ticket is only $8.99. And here is our payment plan, which breaks down to $19 a day. And so if that is something that you want to start your new year with, so you are equipped, you have the systems, you have the tools, have the knowledge, here is the QR code that you can go on to. And so did she come on?
Not yet.
So I know that if you've been there before, there are new programs. There's going to be some new information shared, and so we're going to talk about the hiring process, the interview process, compensation. So there's going to be a lot of cool new stuff there too. So make sure if you've been there before, you know how amazing it is. So definitely consider it again.
Okay, so Miss Meadow, I'll check in right away with Rebecca, but if she's unable to make it, do we have a second person?
Yeah, and we'll let them know here by the end of the day if Rebecca's not able to.
Got it.
I've let them know to reach out to me by end of day.
All right, well, I'll reach out to Miss Rebecca right away, and if it's not, then we have someone else on here who's going to be our lucky winner. And so on behalf of myself, Miss Nikki Lee, and the fabulous April, we want to thank all of you for joining us today. We hope that we will see you on, how about November 18th, where we're going to talk about, okay, you've had a walkout, let's build that dream team. We've enjoyed every moment of our time together. Any closing words from you, Miss Nikki?
I am just so privileged to be on here, and I can't wait to, talk to each one of you more. I hope to see all of you on the 18th. Make sure you're there. And if you guys want to follow us, just follow us on social media for more information on that, or just reach out and we'll give you all the information that you need for that too. So you can register with that too. So we're so looking forward to seeing you. And April, thank you for pulling this together. Really, really appreciate it so much.
Yes.
And
it's been wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I did have a few folks message me for some information. Just go out to our website. It's kopsaotte.com. You can find me there. You can sign up for our newsletter. Again, just always wanting to bring people together to provide additional education. So thank you for being top notch, ladies. I appreciate you so much.